It's officially off-season time for the Philadelphia Eagles, but the postseason just feels like it started as the divisional round has brought more questions for this team than I think we had going into the playoffs. All that and more coming up next.
The following announcement has been paid for by
the ENN Podcast.
He has a good energy, you guys.
Can you feel
Sport.
that excitement? And also,
the merchandise, wearing the hats.
Is what I'm seeing for real?
ChrisWylde here live from Lincoln Financial.
Yeah, go back.
I can't wait till this video's over so I can say its name anymore.
Music.
Wow.
Again, and I hate to do this again, but these are goofy.
What the hell? What is that? Whoa! What the hell?
And more.
What's his next book gonna be called?
got you sucker.
I see that coming.
Under pressure. He's going to be sacked for the second time today.
To be honest with you, it's been a mismatch so far.
This guy can't read. Hey, Mike, keep moving around. He can't read now. He's going to give us a couple.
This is communication.
What a way to start a podcast, and with some really unflattering footage of our QB1, Jalen Hurts. This is bar 4133. This is the ENN Podcast, and I am professional wrestler Chris Wilde, the 1CW Workhorse Champion, and the now defeated 2020 Big League Fantasy Football Champion, which this year in fantasy football was absolute dog shit for me. I don't know how a guy with Jonathan Taylor and Cooper Kupp, that being me, and Patrick Mahomes for that matter, could lose, but I did. But that's another video for another time. We're here to talk about the questions going into this offseason for the Philadelphia Eagles. And you know, look, the Eagles got into the playoffs, and at the time, it was awesome for us. I mean, they got there. We figured it would be a great learning experience. And then the worst happened, and that was them being absolutely dominated by Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You know, going into that game, I thought there might be a slight chance that they could make an upset happen, and at least they would have a fighter's chance and they would make it a great fight, but that did not happen. What happened was the worst thing, and that was to be completely dominated on both sides of the ball. Now, you guys know how I feel about Jonathan Gannon's defense, and the defense has not been able to stop a good quarterback, nonetheless the greatest of all time. So there wasn't that much of a question there, but on the other side of the ball, we felt pretty good about Jalen Hurts going into that game. He had brought us into the playoffs. The guy kind of had that it factor, all the intangibles, and he seemed to have improved from last year. Now, if you follow me on my live streams, you know that after the Cincinnati Bengals defeated the Tennessee Titans and the 49ers, and Jimmy Garoppolo defeated Aaron Rodgers and the Packers in Lambeau Field, I had a question, and that was, do you need a franchise quarterback to win in the playoffs or to win a championship? Is it an absolute necessity? On one hand, Joe Burrow looks like he's going to be the absolute franchise for the Cincinnati Bengals. And on the other hand, you had Jimmy G, who played an absolute horrible game, and it seemed like at times tried to give the Packers the win. But Jimmy Garoppolo is going into a championship game and could eventually get to a Super Bowl. Then Sunday happens and all hell breaks loose, right? You had just an amazing game between the Rams and the Bucs, where it looked like the Rams were going to give it away to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Matt Stafford finally looking like that franchise quarterback about to go into a championship game after being held in Detroit, held in absolute poverty and football hell for so long. He's getting his shot. Tom Brady, what might be his last hurrah, almost brought the Bucs back. And then the game of all games, Kansas City and Buffalo. Josh Allen versus Pat Mahomes. A game with literally no defense. Comes down to overtime, and Pat Mahomes, not even overtime, Patrick Mahomes, 13 seconds remain in regulation. It looks like the Buffalo Bills are going to go to the AFC Championship. They think it, Josh Allen thinks it, and then Pat Mahomes does what Pat Mahomes does. He puts teams away. 13 seconds later, it's a tie ball game, and in overtime, there was absolutely no doubt that Pat Mahomes and Travis Kelce, brother Jason Kelce, we're going to get the victory. And Andy Reid, now former Eagle head coach, is the only head coach in history to bring two teams to 4 straight championship games, and he is doing that with 4 straight home games in the NFC, and Kansas City looks like it could be on its way to another Super Bowl. 2 awesome quarterbacks, Josh Allen and Pat Mahomes. This is what every team wants, right? You want a quarterback like a Josh Allen or like a Pat Mahomes that make every throw, the deep throws, the short throws, the crossing routes, everything, the RPO. They do everything right, and they do everything well. That's the kind of quarterback you want. But do you need that kind of quarterback to win? Now, this game against Kansas City and Buffalo, we knew these quarterbacks were great before that game happened. But do you need a franchise quarterback? Now, look, if Buffalo's defense could just stop the Kansas City Chiefs for 13 seconds left, if they could just stop them, we're having a whole different discussion now. Defense is absolutely important, and it is my opinion, and I'm going to stick to this opinion until I don't, that the Eagles need to vamp their defense up. They need to revamp their defense. They need to get new pieces, new personnel, and they need to build. But going into the playoffs, I will tell you, I thought that the Eagles should build around Jalen Hurts. Use some of this cap space that we have. The Eagles are probably $30 million of cap space. That's before Howie is wheeling and dealing. I really thought that it'd be a great idea to build around Jalen Hurts. I mean, why not? The guy is going to develop, right? But do we really want to wait on Jalen Hurts to develop? Now, Josh Allen, people look at him. The guy did not look like he was going to be a starting quarterback. Nonetheless, a franchise quarterback or one of the best quarterbacks in the league through his first 2 years. And you look what happened when he got a guy like Stephon Diggs and was able to now see and read defenses. Pat Mahomes said it took him almost 2 seasons to actually read a defense well. Now, you saw Kevin Ross of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers sit here and say that Jalen couldn't read defenses and that he was going to give up turnovers, which he did. Is that something that he can overcome, and do we want to wait for that to happen? Is it something a wide receiver like Devontae Adams wants to wait to happen? Will he come here? Because the wide receiver class now for free agents is absolutely awesome, but do these guys want to wait for Jalen Hurts to develop? Are we going to just sit on intangibles and let a guy like Russell Wilson, who is going to be available during the offseason, and we have the draft capital, do we want to waste an opportunity to get a Russell Wilson or waste an opportunity maybe in the draft? And I know the draft quarterbacks are not great this year, but is there somebody that Howie Roseman sees that could be, you know, a guy that's worth bringing in here? Look, Justin Herbert didn't have a great grade on him coming out of the draft. Do you want to miss out on an opportunity there? We talk about Deshaun Watson. I don't think he's going to be a factor because I think the guy's probably going to go to jail. And then you look at Aaron Rodgers. He's not going to come here. I think the best chance of getting a guy like a Josh Allen or like a Pat Mahomes who could hang with those guys is Russell Wilson. Now, look, being an Eagles fan, we have shit a lot on this guy, Donovan McNabb, throughout the years. But the one thing that that I knew going into a game with McNabb under center was that he could hang with these guys. He could give you that fighter's chance, that back and forth type of game. McNabb could do it, and he did it with very little. When he got T.O., if he had T.O., and if they could have just got along, it would have been game over for years. But that, again, another video for another day. I think I actually did the video if you look back in the archives. But this question is going to be asked, and I'm going to do many videos about this, but this is the first of many, is do we have Jalen Hurts as the guy? Now, Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni did a press conference where they said, yeah, he's our guy. We told him he's our guy going into the season. I think they're full of shit. I think Howie Roseman's full of shit. I think if there's a chance to get Russell Wilson, he's going to pull the trigger and he's going to go, look, things change around here, blah, blah. This is the same guy that just a season ago said that not having Carson Wentz as your quarterback would be like imagining your hand without some of its fingers. And then he traded Carson to the Indianapolis Colts. So I think absolutely anything's on the table. And I'm sitting on a fence right now, guys. I'm sitting on a fence because I don't know if I want to build around Jalen in the draft and in free agency, or if I want to use some of that draft and some of that cap space to get an elite quarterback in here. It's so and again, Russell Wilson's the guy I'm talking about. Jalen Hurts, 23 years old. He's younger than Carson Wentz was when he got here. He's younger than a lot of these quarterbacks out there. Who knows? Could he end up being... Now, look, he doesn't have the natural ability that Josh Allen has, but could he become a franchise quarterback? Man, if he goes somewhere else and develops, we're going to be kicking ourselves in the ass if we get a guy like Russell Wilson and he's finished. or only has a couple seasons left and then is finished? I don't know. It's such an intriguing question. Now, I promise some predictions going into this championship Sunday. I will tell you this. I really, really want the Cincinnati Bengals to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, look, I love Andy Reid, Eagles coach, great guy, but man, I want some new blood in there. There's just something that I love about Joseph Burrow, man. This guy, has that it factor. Him, Jamar Chase, the kicker. I saw the kicker on the Pat McAfee show, Evan McPherson. This guy, again, he's just got confidence oozing out of his pores. Everything about the Cincinnati team is fun. I would love to see them beat the Kansas City Chiefs, but I just don't think they're walking into Arrowhead and beating Andy Reid in a championship game in Kansas City. Pat Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, those guys are feeling it. This is the time that they shine, and I think Kansas City wins. I do think it will be a dogfight, though, and I don't have a score. I'm not doing a score here for these games. Now, in the NFC, I absolutely want the San Francisco 49ers to beat the Rams, and I do think that happens. I think that D'Amico Ryans has that defense dialed up. They're already being counted out. I think they absolutely whooped the shit out of the Rams. I think it's not even going to be close this time. I know people are going, this guy doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Cooper Kupp, Matt Stafford, they got Akers, they got OBJ. I think this defense is going to come out absolutely on fire. And on the offensive side, Jimmy Garoppolo there has been so much shit talked about him this week, about he's the guy that doesn't do anything in the group project but still gets an A. That does something to a person, man. That does something to a human being. We're going to see what Jimmy G is all about. And I think that he actually has a good game. And I think we're going to see 49ers and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. But I am really hoping for a 49er Cincinnati Bengals Super Bowl. Who would have thought we'd say that at the beginning of the season? That just goes to show what everybody knows here in the NFL. With that being said, guys, if you would like to donate to this channel, please hit that Cash App. I've got the information below. Not begging for anything, but it would be nice to get some help for some new equipment and go on some of these road trips that I want to go on. Also, if you have not subscribed to the channel and you like what you see, please hit that subscribe button. Every little bit counts. It's not just football. It's not just Eagles. It's a little bit everything here on ENN as far as entertainment and music is concerned. Also, throw a little bit of wrestling in since I am a wrestler. With that being said, guys, this kind of went on a little bit longer than I thought it was going to go. Is Jalen Hurts the guy? Is he not the guy? And do we want to build around him or not? That question should be answered. It's probably going to be a little bit longer than we'd like, but we'll see. That being said, guys, enjoy Championship Sunday. Stay safe, stay healthy, go Birds, and I'll see you later.
E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles! E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles! I need Eagle Nation to stand.